All right, thank you all so much for attending this webinar on how to use Google My Business to improve your online visibility. I am going to give a quick review of who I am and why you should care. I am Allison Verhalen. I am the owner of AV Writing Services. I am a content marketer, speaker, SEO strategist, and author now. So that's super exciting. I was actually just updating my Google My Business profile as I was getting ready for this. And I normally skip the product section and went, oh, wait, I have a book now. That's a product. So now I have a products page on my Google My Business profile. So that is something to keep in mind. If you have both products and services, or if you've recently added something, make sure to let Google know about that so that when people are looking for you, they find that information. My story is that I have always loved writing and the written word. I was always reading books and writing my own short stories when I was growing up. Wanted to grow up to write books and was told that writers don't make any money and I should choose something more realistic. So I figured I could, if I couldn't make a living writing books, maybe I could make a living making books. So I was like, well, maybe I'll work in publishing. So I got to college, majored in English and psychology, which turned out to be the perfect degree for content marketing, even though I had no idea what content marketing was. Like I said, I was going to try to work in publishing. Graduated in 2009, right after the job market crashed. So there were no jobs to be had in publishing or really anywhere else. So, I was a receptionist, I was in customer service. They were jobs, they were not careers. Found myself between jobs at one point, and my roommate at the time, her dad, who was an attorney, was awesome and offered to give me stuff to do around his office until I got back on my feet. And one of the things he needed was someone to write blog posts for his law firm. And so he knew I had a strong writing background, so he offered me the gig. I was more than happy to get paid to write because that was the dream. So jumped at that chance, and the rest is history, as they say. I started writing for an associate of his and then for some friends of mine. Did eventually get another day job that I just kept writing on the side, and it just kept growing to the point where I could not do both anymore. And I was really successful in what I was doing. My first client after 6 months told me I had brought in $75,000 worth of business to his law firm just for the blog posts I was writing for him. So I was like, oh, he was not paying me $75,000 for those 6 months, by the way. So his ROI was significant on that investment. So that was kind of my first awakening to the fact that there was money in this and I could actually make a living doing this. So got sucked in on the writing end. And if you had told me at the time that I would need to learn SEO and WordPress and everything in order to make this a career, I would have been too intimidated to even try. But it just grew naturally from what I was already doing with the blogging. In this day and age, you cannot do blogging without SEO or vice versa. They really go hand in hand. So here I am leading a webinar on Google My Business. Go figure. Never would have thought. So thank you. Thank you. So without much ado, I am going to try and remember how to share my screen and how to share something specific. So let's go straight to this tab. So first and foremost, I want to teach you how to access Google My Business. Does anyone here use Gmail? Because I use it all the time. Yeah, we got some hands. Okay, so this is like my Google hub, because anywhere from Gmail, I can go up to these dots. I don't know if you guys know this already, that I can just go up here and click over here. And there's my Google My Business profile. It's right there. So that's the first thing. That's how you access it. But before we get into that, I want to talk about checking to make sure that you have a Google My Business profile. For a few reasons. First of all, I was talking to someone who didn't realize that they had a Google My Business profile. It could be that someone, especially, I mean, most of you guys, I think, own your own businesses, so this might not be an issue for you. But if you were part of Google Plus, back when Google Plus was a thing, I had a Google Plus account, which I didn't do a whole lot with, but I had it. When Google got rid of it, it might have automatically given you a Google My Business profile when it transitioned away from Google Plus. So I have heard stories of people finding out they have a Google My Business profile and they didn't realize that they had. So that is something to keep in mind. So I do want to just check real quick to make sure that you have a Google My Business profile. So here's me Googling myself. That's my company. Oh, don't tell me it's not going to come up now. Now, usually it shows up over here. You have that Google over there, but it's not coming up right now because it's being pissy. That is something that I always look for with customers, is to see if they have that window that pops up saying, here's the business. Google might be messing with me because it knows that I own AV writing services. And so it's not going to show me my own thing because Google knows all of these things. And sometimes it messes with us, but I always look for that. So if you are trying
to check ours,
yeah, you can check yours.
Check one of ours.
Yeah,
I'm on my phone. I don't know if that works.
No, that's okay. Just what is your business, Cindy? And I can try Googling it.
Tower Road Microgreens, maybe that one.
I'm not seeing a Google My Business profile.
And I'm not surprised because I don't remember Google Plus, and I certainly have not done it recently.
Yeah, I see your Facebook page.
Illinois Thermography? Pardon?
I was going to say, I see your Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
Not a
how
Google My
about
Business.
Illinois Thermography?
You're going to have, there we go. I was going to say, you're going to have to spell thermography for me, but it just pulled it up. It was like, here you go. No. Website comes up, but again, I don't see a Google My Business profile. So you all have some work to do.
Good to know.
So we're going to talk a little bit about why Google My Business is so important, just because when you do have that box in the corner there, a lot of people go straight to that. I'll admit I'm usually the one who goes straight to that little box right there, just because I know that it's been vetted by Google. Sometimes I've had this where I search a local business and I try to click on one of the links that comes up and I get a warning saying, this link is not actually that business. Maybe you want to go back and try something else. So when I click on that Google My Business profile and click on the button to their website, I know I'm going to that business's website because Google vets all of their information. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So it's also just more visible. I mean, who doesn't want more visibility? And it helps with, especially with Google Maps. If you are in a certain location, obviously I provide online services, so I can work from anywhere. But I did have someone reach out to me recently because they found my Google My Business profile and they were looking for someone in the Chicago area. So that was how I got a new client, was having my Google My Business page set up and optimized for that. So it really improves your visibility. It also helps, it's like the difference between, it helps to tell Google directly, you know, who you are and what you're all about. Obviously, Google is going to crawl your website, figure out all of that information, but it takes a while. It takes 2 to 3 months for Google to crawl and index new content. So if you want to go straight to the source, so to speak, you can just tell Google what you're all about, and now Google already has all that information, so it can do a better job of matching you with certain searches. I think of it as the difference between, you know, turning in your resume versus actually having the interview face-to-face or screen to screen, as the case may be these days, right? A lot of interviews are taking place virtually, but you can still get so much more out of that interview than you can with, you know, just the resume with the standard information. So that is why it is so important to have a Google My Business profile. Now, how to get started? Obviously, you're going to want to start with your name. Don't get fancy with the name like we did with Cindy. We were just searching the name of her business. You can try searching keywords for your business to see what comes up, but don't try to get too fancy with it. If people are looking for Illinois Thermography, if people are looking for Tower Road Microgreens, they're going to try to search that name because they want that specific company. They don't want any thermography. They don't want any microgreens. They want the ones that Cindy is providing. So absolutely make sure that it's consistent. Because again, that will tell Google there's this name over here and this name over here on this Google My Business profile. What do you want to bet they're the same company? So absolutely make sure that your name is not too fancy. Just keep it simple, because that's what people are going to be searching for. And next up, so location is super important. Just because, like I said, people do search by location, even if, you're like me and you provide online services, there are always the people who like supporting the local economy and supporting people who work in and around their area. And if you are providing like microgreens, obviously, I don't think Cindy is shipping all around the country, right? That's probably pretty local. So it's really important for people to know, can I get these microgreens? Are they accessible to me, or are they way off someplace else? Your category, you're also going to want to choose your category. When you set up your page, mine is, I think, internet marketing, because that's basically what I do. I have a lot of services, and we can get to that a little bit later. But it all falls under internet marketing, right? So that's what I provide. That's the category that I chose. And then service areas. And this is where you can have that long list of all the different, well, if you're like me, it's a pretty long list of all the things that you provide. So you can have those service areas. And let me go ahead, if I can, if it'll let me. There we go. Services are down here. And you want to check this? I was just checking this before hopping on this call. I write for financial planners, among other things, and an assisted living company. So all of a sudden under services, I had assisted living and wealth planning and all these things that I write about, but I do not provide. So I got to go in and delete all of those and say, no, please don't list those as my services, because that's not what I provide. So you're going to want to check up on this on a regular basis. Make sure that Google isn't doing weird things. Google has the best of intentions, but sometimes it messes up and does weird things. So you're going to get all your services listed. You've got your location. Contact information is super important. How are people going to reach out to you once your thing is up and running? Do they click through to your website? Do they go straight to your contact page? I've seen that before with the Google My Business profile that goes straight to the contact page. If you just want to go straight to reaching out to them or learn more, or you might even list the phone number. I've seen that too, where people list their phone number right underneath their business, so you can go straight to calling. There's also a message option. I have not turned that on for my own. You probably should for my own Google My Business profile. But this allows other people to message you directly from your Google My Business profile. This makes things a lot easier because, again, people are going to see that Google My Business profile, and sometimes they just want to interact with that. And if they can send you a message with just the click of a button, a lot of people are going to choose that option, but you have to check your messages, right? Because in this day and age, people want immediate results. So if they message someone else and they get back before you do, they're going to go with that competitor of yours. So you can set up messages. I believe you need the mobile app on your phone in order to set that up. So if you do that, just make sure that you're checking it at least once or twice a day, depending on how many messages you're going to get through, just because, again, the faster you can respond, the better off you'll be. So set that up and then set a time or times to check your messages to make sure that you're actually responding to people who are trying to reach out. So you've got your service areas, your contact information, your location, your name, your category. Now Google is going to send you a little piece of paper in the mail, snail mail, to the address that you provide. I should say, if you're like me, you do still have to tell Google what your address is, but you do not have to make your address public, right? So that's what I chose to do because I work from home and I don't want everyone and their mother knowing my home address, right? So I can say that I work in Oak Park, Illinois, and people can see that information, but they're not going to see my specific address. But I had to tell Google my specific address, and no, it cannot be a PO box because for some reason Google doesn't like that. It has to be a physical location. So Google can send you the little piece of paper that says just verify, and they give you like a code, and then you go into your Google My Business profile and enter in the code, and then you're ready to go. So
Allison,
yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of muting and unmuting for some reason.
Because I'm tapping like crazy.
Well, don't do that.
I came inside because it started to rain. So I missed the part where you said how to get to this. So you went up to your Gmail and you went up to the like 4 or the 12, what are they, 9 dots?
Where did my
Right.
Gmail go? Yeah. So,
And then what did you choose once all those icons come up?
so right for me, it's right here in the top. It looks like that little awning and with the window with the little G down there. It says business profile. Do you see it?
Business profile. Okay, let's
Mhm.
see. No.
Probably because you don't have a Google My Business profile.
Okay. And so then how do I get to where you're at to set one up?
You would have to, I think I just Googled it, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how I set it up. It was so long ago. Set up Google My Business profile.
Google My Business.
Yeah, and I would go with the one google.com/business, because that's where you're actually going to go. There are obviously blog posts on like how to do it, places that are going to do it for you, but go straight to Google because that's how you're going to actually go ahead and do it.
Okay.
So that would
Okay.
be, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I was going to click on the link and like send it to you guys, but again, I think it'll be weird because I already have a Google My Business profile. So I don't know what Google, but yeah, it's got that same little icon up there. So this is where I would go to start it. And I would recommend signing in before you start. If you have a Google account, just sign in as yourself, because that will make things so much easier when you're like in your Gmail or in your Google Calendar and you want to check your Google My Business profile. You can open that up and it'll open automatically because you're already signed in, and Google will know that. If you try to create a different account, it'll just get confusing. So yeah, okay, where was I? So you verified it. Now we are going to optimize your Google My Business profile. First up, use relevant keywords, always, always. So this is like your service areas. Any posts that you put up should have relevant keywords because that's what people are searching. They're going to be searching the name of your business, possibly your name, depending on, the status of your business and how much of it is just you versus the company with you as someone who owns it or works there. But they're also going to be searching, whatever it is you provide, whether it's thermography or, This Girl's Story magazine or whatever it is. Make sure that you are using those keywords in your content. So your Google My Business profile shows up in all of those searches, not just when they're searching for your name. Update your operating hours. And you can do it again. Here I'm at home and you can go, let's say you can go straight to info, but you can also go straight to here under, this says stay connected during COVID-19 for whatever reason. But you can just go here to update your business hours. I think I put mine as like the standard 9 to 5. Keep in mind for holidays, you might want to change these. Let them know if you're going to be closed on a certain day or not, just so that people can know when they can reach you and when they can't. And if they try to reach out to you outside of business hours, this way they know, well, I reached out on a Sunday, so they probably won't get back to me for a day or two. This does not have to be hard and fast, because I know I'm someone who is pretty constantly checking my email, even, over the weekends and whatnot. I've been trying to get better about that. Certainly I'm checking my email past 5 p.m. But I don't want to set that expectation that people can get a hold of me at all hours. So I just put the standard 9 to 5 just because it's easier. I do Google. It makes my life so much easier in that it emails me when holidays are coming up. Like we've got 4th of July coming up, and I'm pretty sure they'll email me and say, are you open on 4th of July or not? So you can let them know that, no, I'm going to be closed on this day. So if people are, again, if they're searching for you and they see your hours of operation pop up, make sure those hours of operation are accurate, especially if you have a physical location. So that way, if they, show up at your store and find that it's closed, that's really frustrating. And those frustrating events are not conducive to good business relations. So absolutely make sure that you are keeping all of that information updated. Include photos. So obviously I am not a photographer or graphic designer, but even I cannot deny the power of photos and videos. We are visual creatures. We love the visuals. We are much more likely to engage with posts that have visuals, with any content that has visuals, certainly with video. We love video. If you do have a product you provide, you can have a short video showing how to use your product. Those always tend to go over really well, or to show people like what something looks like. If you're selling clothing or jewelry, you can, give a little demo of how it fits so they have an idea of what it looks like when it's on someone instead of just a picture hanging up by a wall, right? So use those photos. I think again, you can change, here we go. Photos, you can go all the way down here to photos. I just put like standard, my logo and a couple pictures of myself. I should probably add some more, but for now, that's all I've got. But I wanted to make sure I had something, right? So that something would show up when people, something visual would show up when people are searching for me. So absolutely take advantage of photos, take advantage of videos if you can. Reviews, we're going to talk about reviews. This is my favorite. So I do this all the time. So when you're from your home page, you've got reviews, get more reviews, share review form. You can click on that and it pulls up this link. I will email my clients this link, especially if I just finished a project with them and I know they were happy with it. I'll say, hey, would you do me a favor? Would you leave me a quick review on Google? And then I include this link rather than making them find me on Google and making them like do all that searching. It's right there. I just send them the link. It makes their lives so much easier. If you make their lives easier, they are more likely to do you a favor. So absolutely keep this up, because how many times do we search for a business and we look at the reviews? How many reviews do they have? Are they 5-star? Are they 4-star? Are they, if they're less than 4 stars, we're probably not gonna reach out to them. So that is something to consider. It is so powerful because I think we all know that one bad review can tank your overall rating, and people stress about that and they don't always take advantage of their happy clients. And just, it takes 2 seconds to just send them a quick email and say, hey, could you leave me a review, and send the link to them. And I think I've gotten 5 or 6 reviews already just by doing that. So highly recommend that you take advantage of that. Remember, anytime someone says something nice about you, saying, hey, great, that's awesome, I'm glad you were enjoying it. Can I have you say that on Google real quick? Unfortunately, you cannot leave. It's not like a testimonial on your website where you can write whatever you want on your website and just put their name and picture. It actually has to come from them because Google wants to make sure that it's verified. So they have to be the one to do it. But you can make it easier for them to doing it by providing that link. So we've got videos. We talked about messaging. Post from your Google My Business profile page. This is actually one that I struggle with, just because I do post so much information on my blog and on YouTube every week that I'm like, what else could I possibly say on Google that I'm not saying everywhere else? Because if you've heard me talk about duplicate content and the fact that Google does not like duplicate content, I tend not to put the same content in multiple places. But what I have been doing, and let's see if it'll show it. No, this is just like create a post. What I have been doing, yeah, see, here we go. Here's my post on this webinar and my workshop that I hosted last month. So I've been posting these because these are things that I want to announce to people. And actually, let's go back to posts. So you can showcase a product. You can show the price of a product. You can describe it. You can create a product post. You can create just like an update kind of a post. There are all these different kinds of posts that you can create. Remember, anytime you want to announce something, let people know about something new that's going on in your business. That would be a great idea for a post. And actually, I should probably create a product post for my book that I just published. So that is absolutely something that I can do, especially since, for those of you who hopped on more recently, I published a book last month. And when I was going through my own Google My Business profile, I realized I was skipping through the product section and realized, actually, I do have a product that I'm selling now. I should put that information in there. So if people are looking for it, or if they're, just browsing through my Google My Business profile, they'll find that. And again, it makes it easier for Google to find the link to buy my book, because you've got it right there in your Google My Business profile. So now Google knows that that book and I are linked, we're connected. So it's gonna show up in more searches. So take advantage of those posts. I was talking to someone once who was pretty sure she set up a Google My Business profile, but when we Googled her, nothing showed up. And it was because she had not done anything with it for a while. So Google My Business profile is not exactly like social media in that you can't really engage with other people, on Google My Business profiles as your Google My Business profile, but you do need to post regularly in order to gain that trust from Google. Google does pay attention, just like your blog. It pays attention to whether or not you're active, whether or not you're creating new content. Again, Google loves new content. So put up new content there as often as you can. If you are blogging on your own website, which I highly recommend, you could always do like a shortened version or like a slightly different version to go up on your Google My Business profile, just so you have content there as well without it being duplicate content. That's always something you can put up. Again, new products, announcements, updates to your hours, updates to, new team members. People love seeing that. If you're adding to your team and bringing people on board, you can talk about them and showcase them a little bit. That always makes your employee feel good. And then it lets people know more about your business. So that's an option as well. And then take advantage of special attributes. Let me see if I can find this. I did this. Where did I put it? I just saw it when I was going through. Maybe it was in info. So if you are a here, from the business identifies as woman-owned, right? So I'm a woman, I own my own business, it's a woman-owned business. You can identify as Black-owned, and you can identify as veteran-owned, you can identify as LGBTQ friendly, and then health and safety due to COVID, we have all these options. So take advantage of this. Check all that apply because there are people who prefer working with women, with veterans, with Black-owned businesses, with businesses that are LGBTQ friendly. And if you have an in-person store that people have to go to, some people really want to know about the health and safety. How does that work? How are you managing COVID? And whether or not you take online appointments. So absolutely take advantage of this and check all that apply. Because that is absolutely something that people take advantage of, and they're going to check. I can add photos from here. I don't know if I want to add an opening date since I've been open for a while, but that's an option. So that is pretty much it. Just remember that it takes a while. Oh, and then you're going to want to Google your manage your insights. Here we go. So your searches, people who follow your business profile, and then you can see how many people viewed you versus actually reached out to you. Yeah, how many people visited versus called you. So yeah, these take a look at these every once in a while to see how you're doing. Just like you should take a look at your Google Analytics for your website and make sure that you are monitoring all that, seeing how people are finding you, checking your backlinks, seeing the search terms people are using to find you, as well as, are they coming to you from certain social media sites? And if so, what pages are they viewing? Just keep on top of all of that, because the more you know about your audience, the better off you're going to be. And that's it. That's everything I have. I think I'm going to go ahead and first of all, I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, I think I'll keep sharing. I was going to stop recording.